Chapter 8, Love is Stronger Than Fear. Deku doesn't trust that Kisha listened to him. He might have threatened him, but Izuku knows better than anyone that people will go to great lengths for love. So here he is, following Kisha around the city in the middle of the day. He's not stalking him though. He's just... Alright fine, he's stalking him. The golden retriever boy has been wandering around to different shops. Izuku swears he even saw the boy buy some flowers. Suspicious, Izuku thinks. Then he arrives at a restaurant and it all starts to make sense when he sees a familiar explosive blonde waiting outside of it. Izuku's blood boils. Kisha hands over the crimson red flowers over to the blonde. They walk into the restaurant and Izuku follows soon after. Damn, I was really hoping he would listen to me. Izuku is sitting a couple tables down from the two. He's holding a menu in front of him so no one can see his face. He looks down at the steak knife on the table and he grabs it tight. He stuffs it in his pocket. Midoriya overhears their conversation. So, Kisha starts to speak. Do you like the restaurant? The restaurant has red painted walls with beautiful art plastered on it. There is live action music and it looks fairly expensive. Too bad for Kisha. The blonde doesn't care much for expensive things. He and his parents live fairly comfortably after all. Bakugo takes in the scenery of the restaurant. Yeah, it's cool I guess. The waiter comes around and asks them what they would like. I'll get the mapo tofu, Bakugo answers. The waiter turns and asks the golden retriever boy what he wants. I will have the same thing. The explosive blonde quirks an eyebrow at this. You sure Kisha? The mapo tofu is really spicy. The golden boy doesn't like spicy food at all. But it is prominent he will go to great lengths to impress the blonde. It's fine, I love spicy, he lies. Izuku is watching painfully as Kisha eats the spicy monstrosity. He is trying to keep conversation with Katsuki as he has a clear display of agony on his bright red face. Izuku face palms at the sad sight. Are you okay Kisha? You don't have to eat it if you don't want to. The blonde is cut off by the golden boy plunging his chopsticks into the spicy food. No, it's fine. Really, I like it. The lie is clear when the blonde looks at the tear's presence in the golden blonde's eyes. When they are done with dinner, the next thing they do is go to the beach. Izuku is trying his hardest not to kill Kisha right now. Who does this guy think he is? How dare he go on this stupid date after I threatened him? Maybe I'll have to just show him how scary I can be. But, the brunette looks at the blonde. Even from a distance that smile still makes the butterflies in his stomach flutter. I'll have to do it after the date. I can't just give Kisha a piece of my mind in front of Katsuki-Kun. The rest of the date goes fairly well. After the beach, Kisha drags Bakugo along to an ice cream shop a little ways down the road. The shop's name is The Twist and they get delicious cold treats. Katsuki gets a caramel chocolate swirl while the golden blonde gets strawberry vanilla. They sit on a concrete wall overlooking the beach to eat. Honestly, this was an amazing day Kisha, but the explosive blonde looks down at his dripping ice cream. I felt like this was just a fun day between friends. So I think we should just. The blonde is cut off by a rush move. Kisha grabs Bakugo's face and leans in. They kiss. Midoriya is in shock, but soon that feeling is turned to pure rage. The golden retriever blonde leans back out of the kiss with tears welling up in his eyes. Just a little more time, please. Kisha looks into Bakugo's crimson red eyes and says his next words with pleading in his voice. I love you Katsuki. Bakugo looks taken aback by his statement. He looks down to the side with pain evident on his face. Bakugo can't bring himself to tell his best friend something that will break his heart. So instead he says, I will talk to you tomorrow Kisha. I need some time to think. Thanks for the amazing day. Bakugo gets up and starts walking back home. Kisha just sits there with his head hung low. The sun is setting and the ice cream is slowly dripping its sticky sugary substance onto his hand. He gets up, tosses his ice cream, and starts to make his way home too. It's now dark enough for the street lights to be on. The crickets are chirping and small bugs are swarming the lights scattered around town. Izuku is trailing the golden retriever blonde. Rage is a fog clouding his brain from better judgment. He takes the knife he got from the restaurant out of his pocket and holds it close. He feels the weight of the blade. The cold metal pressed against his hand. He's angry, upset, and he sees the world painted with red. The greenette rushes forward in an instant. All the golden boy sees is a flash of red before he is pinned on the ground under a street light. Izuku looks down at the source of his rage. He can still smell the salty ocean lingering on the boy. He holds the knife to his throat. Keisha is terrified, and even more so when he looks into those blood-red eyes. Midoriya, what are you doing? Please let me go. The greenette looks at the boy with seething resentment. I told you to stay away from him. He is mine. The golden retriever blonde is shaking with fear. This time Izuku can't even tell if it's from his quirk or not. Tell me it's a lie. Tell me you don't love him, Midoriya says, and now he is crying with the tears dripping down onto the golden blonde's face. Even with fear for his life, Keisha can't bring himself to say those words. I see can't, the boy is terrified but he speaks anyway. Because that would be a lie, Keisha speaks his next words with honest truth. I love him more than anything. That was the last straw. Keisha's words sent Izuku over the edge. Love is stronger than fear. Izuku pushes the blade harder onto the boy's neck and slashes his throat. Keisha is gasping, but it's no use as blood starts to fill his lungs. Izuku soon becomes frantic with worry and regret. He feels dread pooling in his stomach. It wasn't me, I wasn't in control. Midoriya tells himself. He grips onto the golden boy's lifeless body. The greenette's hands are covered in the ruby liquid emitting from the corpse. The blood starts to shimmer and shine before it starts to seep into his hands. What's happening? The golden boy's throat sews itself back together before his very eyes. The blood won't stop absorbing into Izuku's hands, and soon the blood starts to pour from his eyes and down his cheeks. Midoriya screams a heart-wrenching scream. Just then Keisha's body is fully restored. The boy's eyes shoot open and he starts breathing heavily. As soon as he's back, he takes one look at the greenette who's covered in blood. Those red eyes with blood pouring out of them. Keisha pushes him away and runs. Izuku doesn't stop him. Izuku walks home slowly, thinking about everything that had just happened. Saying he's traumatized would be an understatement. When he gets home, the first thing he does is run to the bathroom. He looks at the monster in the mirror. The blood, it's crusted over his face and body. He takes a hand and reaches to his eye. As he slowly pulls down his eyelid, he can see traces of the ruby liquid's residue. He can't take his reflection in the mirror anymore. He screams and breaks the horrid thing. It's broken into shards with blood on it from the impact of his fist. The worst part is that he can't even tell if it's his blood or not. He draws back the curtains and gets in the shower. The flaky brown and red that his body is covered in turns moist, gooey, and sticky. He rubs off as much as he can. But it never seems like enough. He rubs and scratches the stuff, but it's never enough. His skin is now pink, itchy, and irritated. He scratches until it's his own blood that's all over his body, seeping from wounds. Once the blood is off, or at least Keisha's blood is off, he gets dressed and out of the shower. He takes his bloody tattered clothes and throws them in the trash. He can't take this anymore. He killed him, he's sure of it. It doesn't matter that he's back because the fact still stays that he killed him. I can't live with myself. If I deserved to die before, I definitely do now. He takes a kitchen knife and heads back to the bathroom. He quickly shuts the door and sits on the cool floor. Inko should be asleep at this hour, and she is known to be a very heavy sleeper. But that doesn't stop Izuku from hoping he doesn't wake his mother up. The poison I leak into this world must come to an end. He holds the blade to his forearm. He feels the familiar weight and coldness of the metal blade and digs in deep. He slices vertically, hitting all of his veins and arteries. He tries to hold the knife and do the same to his other arm, but he can't seem to hold it right due to his state, so the other cut isn't as deep. Mountains of blood seep from his forearms, down his hands, and pool up onto the floor. He feels himself getting colder and weaker. He's slowly leaving himself. He thinks as he sees glowing of ruby red come from his hands again. Before he can think too hard about it, the world turns to darkness. He lets himself fade into the nothingness with peace. He slowly opens his eyes. Am I dead? Izuku questions himself. He looks around and he is met with the same bathroom and the same cool floor tiles beneath him. He looks at his arms. They are no longer cut open, but instead have 2 long scars strung across them. He gets up and looks in the mirror. Those same red eyes he's grown to hate looks back at him. How am I not dead? Not only have his arms healed, but the scratches all over his body are gone like they were never even there. That's weird, if I have no open wounds. But then why? Why am I covered in blood? I thought the only aspect of my quirk was intimidation. But it looks like that's not entirely it. If I get blood on my hands, it absorbs it. And it looks like it can heal about anything. It can even bring back the dead. Izuku looks down at his hands. He internally groans as he draws back the curtains to get in the shower once more. But that's impossible, you can't just bring back the dead. Izuku's head is spinning with information and theories about his quirk. When he's done with his shower once more, he looks around at the blood-stained bathroom with a ruby puddle on the floor. He goes to the kitchen to get cleaning supplies. Even after hours of scrubbing, he still can't seem to get rid of that iron smell. Midoriya tries his best and heads to bed. He deflates into the soft mattress. The brunette is absolutely exhausted. He falls asleep immediately.